Hi, so here is our writing lesson for today for 4.5. We are mainly going to focus today on setting our goals for writing. Remember, we're writing an imaginative narrative. Remember when we read the story on Isabel Tells a Good One? She wrote a narrative. A narrative is a made-up story. So in this module, we're going to write an imaginative story or a made-up story. Okay, let's look at the steps for writing. So whenever we write, the very first step is what? What does that say? Pre-write. Very good. So you're going to choose a topic, plan it out. Oops. Choose a topic, plan it out first, next, then last. So today we're going to pre-write. You're going to choose what you want to write about, and then you're going to plan it out. You're not going to write the whole story. You're just going to plan out what you want to happen in your story. And then after that, not today, but on another day, we're going to draft it. That's when we actually write and draw what we need, and we add details. And then you need to, and not today, but I'm just showing you the steps for writing. The next step after drafting is revising. That's when we add sentences and words, take words out, and move stuff around to make it make more sense. Remember we did that last time and the time before? And then when we edit, edit is kind of like what you do with your reading test. Whenever you get your reading test, remember that last page that talks about how can this be changed, what needs to be deleted? Yeah. That's called editing. So when we edit our own papers, we check and make sure everything for capital letters, everything needs to be capitalized, that there's spaces between words, that words are not so close together where nobody can read them clearly. You check for punctuation and make sure you have periods after each sentence, and we check for spelling. That's called editing. And then we publish our story. Publish is when you write your story one more time. So remember after you're done writing a story, after we're editing it and everything, and I give you that colored paper and I say, okay, rewrite it now, publish it. That's publishing. Sometimes I may ask you guys to publish it by typing it on the computer. And that'll be your final copy. We haven't done that part yet, but we are going to try to do it this time around, depending if we have time or not, okay? But obviously we're not going to finish this writing until after winter break. All right, and then the last step is to share your story with others. Whenever we do our writing, I always ask you guys to get up and read it to the class and share it with the class. For my onliners, when you guys do it, I do print out your writing and I hang it up on the wall, and I sometimes share it with the rest of the class as well. So it is going up on the wall. It is being printed out, okay? So it is being shared. All right, so that's the step for writing. So back to what we're doing today. Today we are pre-writing. We're choosing the topic, and we're going to plan out first, next, and last. Before we do that, though, let's look at our focus statement. A good story has key parts to keep the reader interested. Okay. The following sentence. Use your imagination to write a story. Think about an imaginary friend or an imaginary place. I want everyone to close their eyes, put both hands on your desk, and I want you to think about an imaginary friend or imaginary place. This should be easy for you guys because the younger you are, the better your imagination is. The older you are, it gets harder. Once you have come up in your head, once you have an imaginary friend or an imaginary place, raise your hand. Think about playing when you play at home, sometimes by yourself. Don't you guys sometimes imagine that the toy figure is real and is talking, or you imagine that the toy cat? Good, that could be your imaginary friend. Do you ever think about an imaginary place that you guys go together? Okay, now is it a little easier? Good. Now we're going to write about that imaginary friend or place. What story can you tell about that friend or place? You're going to make up a story. This should be easy. This is the fun kind of writing. I love making up this kind of stuff. All right, as you plan your draft, your imaginative story, be sure to describe strong characters, use the beginning to set up the story, name the problem in the middle, find a solution near the end, and add an ending. Wow, that's a lot. Let's go to Writer's Notebook 4.4 to help us. We're not gonna, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. That part we're gonna do tomorrow. Right now, let's go back to this, and we are going to first set goals. So, elements of a narrative. We already talked about it. There's a beginning, middle, and last, right? Okay, your story better have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Beginning, you're telling us about the characters and the place. In the middle, you're telling us what the problem is. In the end, you're telling us how the characters solve the problem. All right. So you should have this paper out. It was in your packet from week 2. And I told you guys to take it out and put it in the packet for week 3 because we're not done with it yet. My onliners, if you can't find it, I'll be happy to send you another copy. I'm also going to attach this onto the Google Classroom under the assignment 5.6 or 5.5. Okay, so it's there as well. But if you can't find it, I'll be happy to email it to you. Just let me know. All right, so we already did this page where we kind of introduced what we were doing. Now we're on this page, set goals for writing. You are going to write an imaginative story based on an imaginary place or character. It will include a beginning, middle, and an end. Be sure your imaginative story includes, and we already talked about this, an interesting beginning, at least one character based on your imagination, a middle that states a problem, a solution to the problem, and a strong ending. Be sure you follow each step of the writing process. Write your goals. What goals do you want to accomplish this time around with your writing? Would you like for your writing to be more clear? Is that your goal? Would you like to make your story fun and enjoyable for people to read? What is your goal in writing this time? What are you going to do to try to make your writing better? Everyone's goal is different because everybody struggles in a different area. Is your goal to come up with better ideas? Is your goal to really work on punctuation this time to make sure you have your periods everywhere and you don't have and 6 billion times on your paper? Write it down. Write down what your 2 goals are. I want you to come up with 2 goals. Is it to make your punctuation better? What are your goals? Yes, write them down, please. What are your goals? Write 2 goals down. Go ahead and pause the video now. Okay, after you have set your goals, you're going to write why these are your goals. So why is goal 1 your goal? Why is goal 2 your goal? Why did you set that goal? Is that something you struggle with? If it is, then that's what you're going to write. Is that something is it because you like for people to read fun stories? Then that's why, okay? So go ahead and write why these are your goals. Why is goal 1 your goal? And why is goal 2 your goal? Go ahead and write those on the lines here. You can pause the video now. Okay, who wants to share the goal that they set for themselves? Leia, what's the goal you wrote? Good, that's a really good one. That's something everyone in here struggles with. Everybody in here, everybody, even the best writers. I do have some top writers in here, but you guys also struggle with that, which is coming up with a better ending. Coming up with a better ending, not just ending it off by saying, like, just an end, like, you know, boring. But how do you end your story with a cliffhanger, right? How do you end your story with something that makes the reader wanna know what happened? How do you make your ending more exciting? So Leia said that her first goal is coming up with a better ending. Very good. That's a good one. Amaria, what's yours? Good. Coming up with better ideas in the story. Maybe exciting ideas that make the person really want to read. That's a really good one. Good job. Dominique, what's yours? Good. Coming up with an interesting beginning. Maybe a hook. Something to, like, when you go fishing, how you put a hook on the pole? And sometimes in writing we say that too. In the beginning of the story, how do I include a hook? Something to hook my reader onto reading. right? Something to keep my reader focused on my reading and wanting to keep reading and not just get bored with it. How do I come up with a better beginning? Very good. That's good. Dustin, what's yours? Huh? Okay. Dustin's was to work more on punctuation. Very good. Bernaya? Go ahead. Okay. How to come up with a what kind of problem? What did you say? What was your first goal? Okay, very good. Good, and she wants to come up with an interesting beginning as well. Rena? Okay, to write nice. What do you mean? Like what you're writing is nice? Or your handwriting is nice? What do you want to work on? Like what you're writing or how the writing looks? Think about that. Who else? Haney? Your goal is to what? Make a what audience? Oh, I'm sorry. Come up with better ideas. Very good. That's a good one as well. Okay, good job. You guys are really good at setting this goal stuff. Now, when you're done setting your goal, you're going to work on this next page and you're going to get started. So you write and draw about ideas for imaginary friends and places. So you can come up with imaginary friends. You can come up with 2, 3, or 4 imaginary friends you're going to include in your story. I would go ahead and make up 4 imaginary friends. Just because you don't have to use them all in your story, but just in case you have a problem where you need more than one person to help solve, then you have that imaginary friend there. Okay, so when you come up with imaginary friends, you're not just going to write Sally, John, Jacob, and Dolly. You're going to write who they are. So Sally the mouse, or Sally the girl, or Sally, who is Sally, okay? Or you can say Jacob the robot, or Jacob the real life action figure, or Jacob, what is Jacob? Who is Jacob? Okay, who is Sally? Who is Dolly? Who is Lou? So you're going to come up with the names and you're going to tell me who they are. And then you're going to come up with 3 imaginary places. At least 3. Okay? And then here where it says draw, you're going to draw about it. You're going to draw about that imaginary friend. Do I have to draw all 4 imaginary friends? If you want, you can. You can draw a line like this. You can draw a line like this, and then draw your imaginary friends. Or you can just draw your top imaginary friend that's going to be your main character, just anywhere. Okay? And then the imaginary places, same thing. You can do like this and draw all 4 imaginary places, or you can just draw 1. The reason, guys, we draw is so we can see what we imagine, because it makes more sense when you can see what you have imagined. That way, it'll help you do the next step, which is write about what you drew. This is going to really help you with coming up with a good story. This is a very important step in doing to come up with a really good imaginative narrative story. Do you understand? Yeah. So that's all we're going to do today, but this is going to take some time. If you rush through this and don't do it right, it's going to be really hard to come up with a good story. You need to take your time and really come up with a good story. Okay? Onliners, if you have any questions, let me know. Please take your time with this, okay? I'll see you later. Bye.